Before getting into the review, allow me to share a piece of advice. If you're going to watch Akhanda, please carry earplugs. It is so loud. I mean, it's illegal for a film to be this loud. Hello and welcome to Cinema Express. My name is Ram Venkat Shrikar. In this episode of Kuti Review, we'll be talking about Boyapati Srinu's Akhanda. If there's one thing Boyapati Srinu has learned from the failure of his previous film, the subdued superhero outing Vinay Vidhay Rama, it's that you should never play it subtle. Vinay Vidhay Rama was a grounded superhero film in which the immortal hero overcame physical obstacles with ease, and we, audience, mistook it for lazy writing. In Akhanda, however, he rectifies this mistake by making his hero a superhero, or should I say a god. In Akhanda, there is a scene where Akhanda Sikandar Rudra Aghora, that's his name, he hits a guy and the goon's soul exits the body, and as that goon falls back, we see the soul and body meeting. Likewise, he can touch a human and he can see their past. I wish Boyapati explored this angle deeper and we could have given a fitting answer to M. Night Shyamalan's Unbreakable. Akhanda is a true blue Boyapati Srinu film, and that can mean multiple things. Ever since his debut with the Bhadra, Boyapati has refused to evolve as a storyteller. What has changed in his films though is the way his barbaric villains mercilessly murder dozens of junior artists. With Akhanda, Boyapati has hit a new level of savagery. Take this. A hospital where sick children are being treated explodes, leaving numerous nameless characters dead. Then, a dozen poor men are laid on the ground and a heavy truck runs over them. Some more men are set on fire. An entire community of poor laborers is gunned down. All of these scenes, they play out in a span of 10 minutes. That's too much to take in, I understand, but there's no stopping when Boyapati is uncaged and Akhanda is him in his unbridled mode from start to finish. Picture this, hundreds of goons equipped with weaponry from Telugu Masala films go down, ranging from machine guns to axes, have to kill Balakrishna's Akhanda, the character, who is in the middle of a prayer and he has devoted his undivided attention to that, and yet they fail. That's what I call conviction. That's what I call taking the audience for granted. There's also some story in between the bloody and gravity-defying fights. The day an extremist named Gajendra kills a faithful guru and takes his spot as a godman to conjure the world, a couple in Rayalaseema is blessed with twins. Jagapati Babu, who plays a sadhu, sees the future of these newborns and wants the father to let go of one of their kids, citing that the infant will grow up to a violent and destructive man, while the other one will grow up to be the personification of nature. Now, I wondered why Jagapati Babu would suggest something so weird, but still that's something perfectly in alignment with the estranged twins concept. The second kid grows up to be an Aghora named Akhanda Sikandar Rudra Aghora, and the other kid grows up to be Balakrishna. He's called Murali Krishna. He's the most civilized one among the two. Now, looking back at the film, I felt Jagapati Babu was the real antagonist all the while. Had he not suggested this idea, the second kid would have never been the embodiment of death that he's hailed as. Again, why am I looking at logic here? Now, it's almost impossible to objectively see a film like Akhanda, considering how mind-numbingly dumb it is. Boyapati did succeed in what he set out to do. It's the viewer who loses. I knew the film would be loud, crass, violent, and more importantly, senseless. What surprised me is the level of all these attributes. We know that villains in Boyapati films are cruel and they get multiple scenes to establish themselves. In Akhanda, these duties are handed over to Varadarajulu, played by Srikanth, and he keeps doing these crude things, but they really start bothering you after a point. A mother is raped in front of her child, and I see no point for such sequence to exist. I think it's shameful that filmmakers in 2021 keep using rape as a device to exalt the hero. What's funnier is the fact that Srikanth is relegated to a sidekick towards the end, and when you think about the amount of time the film spent on the atrocities, it's a joke. We also have a heroine played by Pragya Jaiswal, and in tradition to Boyapati isms, she is hailed as an inspiration for young women. She is an IAS officer, and yet in the very next scene, she is objectified with a crude scene involving a seat belt. Perhaps the only character in the film who gets a proper arc is a local goon who is reformed by Murali Krishna early in the film. Again, man, why am I looking at the craft here? There is a funny dialogue in the film where Akhanda says, You punish the evildoer by confining him to a cell. I punish him by sending him to hell. Oh boy, Akhanda does takes us close to this hell. That's it from this week's review of Kuti Review. I will see you next week, hopefully with better hearing and with a better film. Thank you.